Welcome everyone to another HVAC Insider Series brought to you by Breezy. I'm your host as always, CJ Todd, and it is a pleasure to be here with you all, my friends. If you haven't done so already, please head over to the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from today. We'd love to get to know you a little bit better, my friends. I am super excited to be supporting Breezy, where we're dedicated to helping HVAC, plumbing, and electrical business owners with field management software tools that automate processes and customer touch points so you can focus on what you do the best, and that's providing exceptional customer service to your homeowners. And we invite industry experts like our boy today, Chris Crew, to share their proven strategies and insights designed to give your business the edge that it needs, whether you're looking to boost your sales, improve your operations, or finally end seasonality once and for all. The HVAC Insider Series has you covered. Now, I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while, not just because of the topic, but today's guest happens to share a love for reggae music like I do. So I already know we're vibing. We're going to be vibing through the whole show today. Now, Chris Crew, he is the real deal. He is the president of Blue Collar Success Group. And if you've been in the trades for more than 5 minutes, you have probably heard his name or you've seen the impact of his coaching. Chris started in the trades at 16 as an apprentice electrician. And with 8 months, he grew to running jobs as a lead tech. Fast forward a couple decades, and this guy's done it all from owner to supervisor to national business coach, the kind of operator who actually walks the walk. So he's grown a business from 10 trucks to 60 across 5 locations and $18 million in revenue in just 4 years. And now he helps contractors do the same across the HVAC, plumbing, and electrical industries. And what I love about Chris is that he brings both the strategy and the street smarts. He knows everything there is to know about this industry. Pricing, he knows recruiting, he knows how to train techs into top producers, and he's got that track record to back it up. And today, just for attending, he's going to give you a free download of the 10 Steps to a Sales Champion poster. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the chat as well for anybody that's tuning in on their cell phones. And my friends, I'm really excited to introduce Chris Crew. Chris, what's up, man? Thanks for joining the show.
CJ, thank you so much, man. I am like I'm overwhelmed a little bit here with the introduction. And we got to spend a little time together and listen to some reggae music. I was over here in my quote studio jamming out, and so a couple people probably all of a sudden that have never met me before heard my southern accent and said, these two things don't belong together, right? These two things don't
Yeah.
belong together, but they do. I'm really excited today, CJ. Thank you and Breezy for having us in today. I hope to be able to drive a tremendous amount of value to the guest and audience today.
Absolutely happy to have you. I'm reminded of that Skittles commercial where it's like a conundrum, reggae and Southern.
Well, here's what you don't know though, CJ. You probably would think that I have tons of personalities. If you were to scan through my Apple Music or my Pandora, you would find genres of music all over. Music, I think Bob Marley said it best when he said music is the one thing that unites people and it transcends culture, race, and religion.
Oh yeah, brother. Love it. Well, hey, I'm excited to have you on the show. I'm going to kick you over the screen so you can lead your presentation and let me know if you need anything while you're at it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Welcome in today. I'm super excited to be sharing with you guys today this particular topic that I really want to focus on with you. And I know for many of you, you're thinking to yourself, hang on, wait, today's the last day of July. And for some of you, you're starting to ramp up for what might be shoulder season. For some of you, I'm here in Sarasota. We actually just broke a record high 2 days ago. Our feels like temperature was 114. So we got some of that Arizona, New Mexico stuff going on, Texas heat. We got some of that going on still in my market. But nonetheless, this is going to apply to your busy season in heating or cooling. Doesn't matter if you're HVAC, plumbing, or electrical. I'm speaking to you today. So I want you to see through any HVAC languaging and be like, well, I'm not HVAC. Well, it's still going to apply to you. Keeping in mind that I am an electrician by trade, so I do understand that. But when we think about busy season, we've said this a lot, that busy season, most businesses are weather dependent. But I want you to change your mindset today. You are not weather dependent. you are weather enhanced, which means that when weather hits, it is supposed to enhance your business. The challenge with that is usually in the summer months or even in the winter months when it gets busy, it is an enhancement to your business if you're prepared to take on what's going to happen in the busy season. I was just on with two folks that are very well known in the industry, and I did a podcast with them, and we were talking about this concept of training. And a lot of times we think shoulder season is the time that we should be training. And I kind of brought a new perspective to that and said this, really, we need to be training in season. And most people get so busy, they won't slow down and train, and because they're too busy to train. But think about the ability to train your team now and then send them out on the calls you want them to go do the thing you just trained them on. So when we think about busy season, what ends up happening is we get caught up in the hustle and the bustle of customer service, and this is going on and people are calling out sick. I mean, geez, the company that maintains my HVAC system called me 2 weeks ago to let me know that my technician was out sick and they could not come out and do my maintenance and that they would need to reschedule. I haven't heard from them since. And so what does that mean? They're too busy chasing the next thing, right? And so busy season typically doesn't surface it, but businesses get ruined. They get ruined during business season, meaning that a lot of problems, challenges, and hurdles happen during busy season, but we kind of suppress them. The old saying is that in many cases, sales will solve a lot of sins in the business. If we can just go sell a bunch of stuff, we'll be okay. I've got friends in the industry that'll tell you that they make all of their money during busy season, and if they break even during slow season, they're happy with that because most of the time they lose money. But I want to kind of open it up today to kind of get you to thinking a little bit different about it. Meaning that busy season is the prime opportunity to really take advantage of growing your business. For me, busy season is not an up and then a down. Busy season is an up and then a next step up to the next part of the season, which is that shoulder season that you go into. So as we start going into the fall, we've got to carry that momentum with us. But in some cases, people go, hey, you know what? We got a lot of revenue. I got a text from a friend of mine in the industry that said, hey, Chris, I do want to let you know that this month we have broke the $500,000 mark for the first time ever in company history. And I asked the question, was it because of volume or was it because of performance? He said, interesting enough, Chris, volume was down. The reason why we actually hit that $500,000 mark is 100% because of what we learned that you teach us at Blue Collar. That's the reason why we're able to make that happen. So I want to say this, and I asked the question, how was profitability? He said, hey, we did about 17% when it all shakes out. And I was like, okay, it's not where you want to be, but that's still making money, right? So the reason why I bring that up is because in many cases, people think that sales equal profitability, and they do not. Just because I've got high volume doesn't mean that I'm going to make a lot of money. Hypothetically speaking, you should, but that doesn't always mean that. And then we'll talk a little bit about the chaos of the summer rush and how we can slow down to capture some of those opportunities that are there. Over the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be sharing with you these following things: how contractors leave money on the table during busy season. Why do they do that? They don't do it intentionally, but they do it. What is the volume myth? Like more calls, more profit without process? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to prioritize calls and control your schedule so you can have higher margins. I'm going to unlock something for you today that I hope is very helpful for you with that. And then we're going to talk about the 3 core systems that every HVAC company needs. And by the way, that also applies to electrical and plumbing as well. And then why slowing down will actually increase average tickets. Just had this conversation with a very large contractor in Texas yesterday about this. And then we're going to talk about how to take the busy season and build on future demand. Well, the money that we leave on the table, let's address that first. The money that you and I are leaving on the table in the business, when we think about busy season, what kind of money gets left on the table? Well, as long as we're making money and we've got, give you an example. As long as we sold the call and it looks like a good average ticket, hey, Chris, we're happy, we're excited, we're stoked about that. But this is what I'm going to share something with you. I learned this really early on. A manager's job is to challenge everything that is not working. In other words, when something's not working, that's a manager's job. Now, based on the audience that I have here today, I believe I've got some owners on the call, and I've got people that are removed from a manager position, and you're more of that executive level. I'm going to share something with you. Your job is a little bit different than the manager's job. Your job as that owner is to challenge everything that is working. Because when it's working, there's probably opportunity. There was a book that was written on it called Good to Great. And when you think about opportunity, we close the call and it's within our average ticket, so we don't even look. We hit budget, we made profit, we don't even look. But really, the devil's in the details. And when you and I can really open the business up on KPIs, financials, and really start diving in saying, how can we make this better, even though we hit budget? Now, I don't go to my team and go, hey, great job, but we got a lot of opportunity in front of us. That's where you got to work on the business behind closed doors, because while you're in the studio working on your business, so to speak, really what's happening is you're finding those opportunities. Because if you go to your team and say, great job team, but I know that we lost a lot of opportunity, it's going to make them feel very defeated in a month where maybe they should be feeling pretty good about themselves. So let's discuss where hidden profits really drain the business when it comes to that. So number one, when you don't prioritize your calls correctly. And when I say prioritize your calls, not first in, first out. And by the way, because your technician called out sick, you shouldn't reschedule me for 2 weeks later for my maintenance, because there is a component of call prioritization, not based on opportunity, but also based on customer status, right? The customer that's been good to you and is stuck with you and been true to you, rescheduling that customer and putting them off, you can only treat them badly for so long before they leave and go somewhere else. So approximately 15 to 25% of revenue can go out the door from poor call prioritization. But don't worry, I'm going to share that with you, how to do that today. Then I think about capacity waste. I was a big fan of this in my call center. In my call center, I actually paid my call center manager based on capacity waste. It was a bonus structure that I had in place for my call center manager to ensure that we maximize the schedule every day. Write that down right now. Write that down. Maximize the schedule every day, which means for every gap that we've got in the business between calls, for all the extra drive time that we capture, we typically find between 20 and 30% of waste in a business's schedule when they don't focus on the capacity component. Number three, lower close rates. Why? Well, it works a little something like this. A technician already knows, a salesperson already knows, it's summer. I got a lot of calls. And instead of arm wrestling at the table with the customer over an example, I'm a technician, I'm in the home, I'm offering indoor air quality, but I'm there because the system's not working. And I'm not going to try really hard on this one. Why? Because I know that there's a line of people that are waiting for me to show up. So they don't slow down because they know they got another at bat. But if I only knew that I got 1 to 2 chances today, what would I do differently? How would I handle this situation? You know, when I go back to my time of owning and operating here in the market that I'm in, about 30 to 35% of my population will leave somewhere around about Easter, and then they don't come back until the Halloween Labor Day area. The reason why is because it gets so hot here, so all the snowbirds leave. So my demand, quote, in busy season, my busy season was not most busy seasons. So I had to find a way to really sustain growth during slow seasons. And one of the things that I did was, we're not going to worry about how many calls we've got on the board. I'm going to just stop right now. If you have your dispatcher or anybody in your business communicating how many calls are on the board to your field staff, it is detrimental to them mentally. Because if they know there's a lot of calls, they know they got a lot of calls they got to go run. That's not their responsibility. Their responsibility is to run the calls that are put on the board in front of them. And your responsibility is to manage the schedule. That's the manager's job. So just because it's busy doesn't mean that we work till 9 o'clock every night, 10 o'clock every night, because there is a point where you will customer service yourself right out of business. That's the reason why technicians have usually about a 3 to 4 year shelf life at a company that doesn't really have good processes in place to manage workflow. Then on the last one, no follow-ups. On the things that we did offer and recommend, Nobody's got a follow-up system in the business that they're using to follow up to make sure that we're capturing that. Here's a snapshot really quick of an example of a busy contractor and a wise contractor. And you're going to notice in the chart, there's a calls per day, an average ticket, and a profit margin. Well, notice the contractor that's busy runs 50 calls a day at a $249 average ticket. Profits margin is about 10%. A wise contractor is going to slow down, run less calls, which, by the way, is less money in marketing, right? Less money that I need to drive in marketing at higher average tickets. I'm slowing down. I'm servicing the customer. I'm allowing the opportunity for the customer to buy because I'm not in a rush, not fix it, gas and go, right? Profitability is going to go up inevitably. Why? Because when we run less calls to generate more revenue, that's how the math shakes out. And it's really not about how many calls you can run. It's not about how many calls you can book. It's about how you handle them. It's about how you run those calls. It's about how your technicians are servicing those customers when they're in the home. Now, what I'm going to share with you is a prioritization framework today. And the call prioritization framework is something that we teach here at the Blue Collar Success Group. It's a class that's actually being taught right now. My team is teaching a class to our members and to our non-members for people that have attended, and it's called Office Champions Academy. But in Office Champions Academy, we teach the entire process of the booking of a call start to finish along with scripting. One of the key components of that is a call priority matrix because it is a system within a system. And I'm going to lay out what the system looks like today. And then I'm going to show you the importance that that system has to the overall system and the impact that it has to the field and to the dispatcher. Number one, let's start. There's 5 levels of calls. And I would say this in the most loving way. I see people that go, oh, 5, we need 6. Oh, we only need 4. The system is the system. And the system that we're teaching you is a system that I used in my business to grow that business to an $18 million end of year. We closed the year at 18 million, but we were on a $30 million run rate. In other words, our trajectory from growth was extremely high. That business today will do about 75 million electrical service only. And the reason why is because there's systems in place. Systematizing your business gives you the ability to grow. So there's 5 levels of calls, and 5 is the highest priority. I learned this, way back in 2005, I understood this concept. The purpose is for us to be able to quickly identify the value of a call without having to dig into it. I don't want to have to click on it and dig in and say, well, what are we going out there for? Or what's the age of the equipment or the home? So what I'm going to do, if you could, CJ, do me a huge favor. I want you to come up here to the whiteboard with me for a moment, highlight this. And what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to explain to you the reason why a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 priority is important. So up here would be the highest priority. Okay. And when I say the highest priority, this would be the lowest. But here's the key. There's 2 things to create your call priority matrix. And today we're not going to build one. It would take too much time for me to teach you how to build it, but I'm going to teach you the concept today. That way, if you want to have a one-off conversation, you can contact us. We'll be glad to help kind of work you through that. Or for those that need clarification, please let us know as well. But what you're going to do is there's 2 things. It's the call type. Now I'm going to park on this for a moment and I'm going to talk. I've seen businesses that have 50 or 60 different call types. And I always ask the question, okay, great, you've got 50 or 60 call types. Have you ever pulled a report just to look to see your call type usage? Well, no, we've never done that. I'll encourage you to go do that right now. That might be a good takeaway from you. And what you're probably going to find is probably 80% of your call volume lands in 5 to 7 different call types, and that's it. I always ask the question, well, what is the purpose of a call type? Well, the purpose of the call type has several reasons. For this particular instance today, we're going to use it to determine skill sets and technicians that need to be sent. So I don't do things like, let me give you an example, right? A repair call. So I'm not generic enough just to say repair. I probably am going to do a no cool or a no heat, right? I might do, when it comes to that, I might do installs a little bit different, by the way. The replacement call will be a high priority call for those that aren't aware of that. So your high priority calls up here, and this will vary depending on whether or not you run selling techs, a selling tech, or if you run a comfort advisor model. And if you run both of those, how your call priority matrix is built is super important because you don't want to send the wrong people to the wrong call. That's going to yield bad customer service and missed opportunity. Nonetheless, what I'm going to give you an example is, and this is where people do, they go call type, and I'm going to give you one of the bad examples of that. They do maintenance on a call type and immediately move it down to a 1 or a 2. And that's the poorest thing that you could ever do when you think about that. Even if you don't run selling techs and you run a comfort advisor model, the reason why call type is not the only component of prioritizing calls is because this doesn't tell the full story. The full story is told then in duplication of that, we add into age. So I show you this example, a system that's say 1 to 4 years old versus a system that's 5 to 9 years old versus a system that's 10 to 14 years old versus a system that's 15 plus. And I'll give you this as an example. If I asked you, and you're not going to answer it today, but just imagine, if you could, that you had a call that comes into your business and it's a scheduled maintenance call. But today you're not really thinking about the age of that system or the age of that home. You may end up sending that to a less qualified technician who is not an effective communicator. Well, the system's running, Chris. They don't need that much technical knowledge. But what if I told you today that this maintenance call is on a system that's 10 to 14 years old? And when we think about a system that's 10 to 14 years old, that's a big opportunity. So instead of it being a priority 1 or 2, because it's maintenance, this 10 to 14-year-old system, depending on your market, heating market, cooling market, may actually quickly move up the ladder to either a 4 or potentially a 5, even though it's maintenance. Why is that important? Because now when we get busy and I'm pulling my hair out and I'm saying, how are we going to get to all these calls? What am I going to do? You quickly can look and go, oh, that's a 5 or that's a 4. We should not reschedule that. We should find a way to make that call get ran today. And then we go find our 1s and 2s. And those are the calls that we push off for the day, unless I've got a technician that is not qualified to run high priority calls, then they'll run these. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. Once again, the purpose of a call priority matrix that is a blend of call type of, per trade, by the way, 5 to 7. If you are in a market where you have geothermal, different, like, let me give you an example. Maybe it's not just geothermal, but maybe you're also in a market that has heat pumps, gas, and oil, and all your technicians are not the same. Maybe you might need to have a couple more here so that your call priorities are built out correctly, but about 5 to 7. And then your age is based on a range, as you can see. By the way, I did 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14. 15 plus. Don't go take that and go, Chris said, because that'll be the worst thing you ever do. Really, what needs to happen is you need to have thought put into it. Every market will be a little bit different based on heating hours and cooling hours. That's what's going to help you to make sure that you're quickly looking at the board. So I, as a service manager, should be able to look at the board and say, we're going to be able to hit budget today because we've got a good amount of calls today that have a higher priority opportunity. So there's your call priority matrix. So now let's take control of the schedule. I want you to make sure that you know that customers don't dictate when we're going to come to them. We are going to dictate when we go to them, right? So they're not saying, hey, I need you here. Flaw that I see on the phone all the time is, when would you like to have us out? Well, I don't control that. Now the customer is controlling your schedule. Well, hang on, wait, Chris, that seems like really bad customer service. But remember, this is about sales. And if I guide them and tell them what appointment that I have available, if it doesn't work, we'll move it to a time that works for them. But I'm going to be offering the appointments based on what times I need to fill the schedule, which means when I think about my scheduling and my control of the schedule, I've now got what's called a technician legend. Now, the technician legend is separate than the call priority matrix that we're teaching here. And by the way, everything we're teaching right here is blue collar stuff, okay? But you may have learned this somewhere else. So the naming that we call them, you say, hey, we kind of do that, but we call it a fill in the blank. That's fine. I'm just teaching you this is what we call it, a technician legend. Now, in your software, and by the way, I'm teaching you how to do this without any software, okay? Now, what you're going to want to do is build this stuff into your software to make the software work on your behalf, right? So build this into your Breezy to make sure that this is how the business runs. The second component is a technician legend. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to map over, not can this technician work on geothermals? Can they work on this? Can they work on this? Do they have this skill? Nope. I'm going to then map their skills to my call priority matrix based on call types and ages so that a dispatcher doesn't have to have a full roster lineup to go, what's the batting order? Who knows what? Who knows how to do that? Because the day that dispatcher leaves is the day that you're going to have major challenges. You need a system that's built within your system so that your people are not the system. Let me repeat that because that might be the most valuable thing you hear today. The people are not the system. The people operate the system. So I've got to build the system not so that it's dependent upon people. The system is itself so that I can plug new people in to train. Then when we think about appointment windows, so the technician legend tells us who can run which of these calls that we build out. So example, if I build 5 age ranges times these, I've got approximately 25 different job types that could be there, right? Based on job type with age. Then you've got appointment windows. This is very, very strategically placed because it allows me a time to fill my schedule by creating some assumptions. Now, in my assumptions, I assume that every call takes 2 hours to run start to finish. So when I look at a technician's schedule, I want them ideally running about 4 calls a day. However, I'm not going to make them run 4 calls a day because I'm going to let my technician slow down. Now, this is where communication comes into play. I'm getting off topic, but I want you to hear this out. A technician should not know they have 4 calls on them. And if you're doing that, I'm encouraging you to stop doing that today. Because if they need to be off at 3 o'clock and they got 4 calls, they will be off at 3 o'clock. I don't care how many calls you've stacked on them, they will get off at 3 o'clock. That leads to poor customer service. So do me a favor right now. I want you to make sure that your technicians aren't focused on how many calls they got to run. They're just focused on the call that's in front of them. So if a technician gets there and sells, I had a process in my business that they had to give what was called a status update. Your job as a technician is to know I arrived on site at 9:52. That means the office is expecting me to wrap up here at 11:52. As soon as I sell the job and I know that I'm not going to wrap up at 11:52, I'm just going to communicate with the office. Hey, I'm going to be here until 2 o'clock. Hey, I'm going to be here until 3 o'clock. And then the dispatcher's job is to then spread the schedule out to then start to see, we're going to be late to this schedule because they're unfolding the schedule as it happens real time versus trying to cram 10 pounds of sugar into a 5-pound sack. Let me say that. Now you guys understand the whole Southern boy of me, right? 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack. And it creates major problems in the business. It overwhelms team members, all of these things. So I don't want you putting that much pressure on your team. Now the appointment windows, because they run in 2 hours, I can create predictability. Don't try to look at this and go, well, that call type usually takes about 3 hours. This one takes about 4 hours. This one takes about 5. You don't know that until it sells anyways. You're making the assumption that you're going to sell every job, and you know that ain't true. Let the technicians tell you what's going on in real time and then adjust the schedule on the fly based on that. I'll teach this capacity management component for a moment. just to kind of give you high level of that. 175/50 is a concept that says, based on the number of technicians that I run, based on the number of appointment windows that I said I will run, that will then create a total number of, quote, available calls for that day. If I have 4 technicians, actually, I'll make it easy. If I have 5 technicians that run 4 calls a day, 100% capacity is 20. Even though some calls don't take 2 hours and some take more, law of averages is 20. By the end of today, to get full capacity, I need to fill the schedule on the assumption of 20 calls. Well, the planning for the future says today, I will plan tomorrow at 75% of 20. So tomorrow's schedule, assuming that I have 5 technicians running 4 calls a day again, I'm tomorrow planning for 75. So once we get to 75 for tomorrow, I don't take any appointments for that day. I book them for the day after that. And then every day past tomorrow is booked at 50%. So that when I come in tomorrow and I sit down on Friday and I sit down at my desk, I still need 25% call volume, but there's a high probability that something from yesterday we need to go back to, or somebody calls out sick, or. You can take same day service this way, and now you're not cramming the schedule full and have no flexibility. Every day past that's 50%. So when I come in on Friday, I'm filling Monday to 25% more capacity, getting me to the 75. When I get in on Monday, I'm trying to get it to 100, get the next day to 75, and every day past that to 50. Once again, it's a whole 3-day class. I can't teach all of it here today. I just want to give you the concept. Then there's got to be emergency protocols. Once again, this is the, hey, somebody just called in. It's a 15-year-old system and it's a no call. Nah, sorry, we're full today. I can schedule you for tomorrow. And you're probably laughing inside. I see businesses do this all the time because they're so full, they're afraid to reschedule. Team members don't, dispatchers call it, they don't want to reschedule. It's the set it and forget it mentality. But when you do this, you're going to increase your revenue by doing that. System number 1, I told you I was going to give you 3. System number 1 is an inbound call handling process. This is the gateway to profit or loss. Number 1, call qualification, identifying high value opportunities. I just taught you that. Number 2, professional phone presence, creating positive first impressions. There's a whole process we teach here at the Blue Collar Success Group called the 9 Steps to a World-Class Phone Experience. That process is designed on how you answer the phone to how you close the call out. But inside of that process, there's processes inside of it, call priority matrix, and so on and so forth inside of that. Then when you look at booking optimization, we talked about that. It's not first in, first out. If I'm looking at my schedule and I'm running a 175/50 concept that we're teaching, and I'm looking at the schedule going, I got this high priority call right now, and if we schedule it for tomorrow, they're probably going to call somebody else. And see, that's where the mindset of our CSRs got to be. We take all high priority calls same day. Now you got to set that standard. Is it a 4 or a 5? Or for me, right? If I said anything that's a 3 or under, you can schedule it for next day. 4 and 5s have to be scheduled same day. If you cannot, you have to get a manager involved. We've got to figure out how we run it. But a lot of times, managers and owners are disconnected from this part of the business. And guess who's actually working, driving the revenue? Dispatchers and CSRs. Here's the challenge of that. You know what CSR's number 1 job is to? Fill the board. Do you know what the dispatcher's number 1 job is to do? Empty the board. So now when I got a CSR, because I've seen this happen in my business early on. Hey, Elisa. Hey, I got a customer here that's got this and this going on and they're looking for today. Elisa says, I'm sorry, Caitlin, we're full today. I've got no room to fit them in. And all the while, it's a call priority level 5. And the dispatcher is making the decision on the revenue of that business. Well, that's one of the reasons why my dispatchers and CSR reported to my call center manager, and the call center manager was based on that capacity component. And then my dispatcher was based on hitting budget for the day. So all of my compensation plans tied together to make sure that they're winning together. And then that goes back to the optimization of booking, making sure that we're booking to optimize the schedule, maximizing appointment conversion rates, and then prioritizing the assessment. So I've got to make sure that I'm properly categorizing the call urgency and the value. When you do this, you're going to improve not only your booking rates, but your revenue. I'm going to stop right here. CJ, do me a favor. I've been I've been going at it now hard for about 25, 30 minutes now. I think what we should do is I think we should launch that poll. Let's get them back engaged to the screen again. We got a poll set up for you. CJ, tell them about the
Let's
poll.
do it. Let's do it. So I want to hear about your biggest summer challenges, right? Like, what are you guys experiencing right now? What are you experiencing in the field? What are you experiencing in your back office? What are the challenges that are really getting in the way of your productivity? So overwhelmed by demand calls, probably a lot of us are. You're short staffed, maybe your employees are burnt out, no time to focus on your operation. I mean, that's what happens all summer, right? Constantly putting out fires, not feeling like you're out in front of the things that you need to be out in front of. Maybe scheduling is rough. Like, I'm sure you've heard all of these, Chris.
Yeah. Carl, hey, Carl, much love for you, man. So much love for you, Carl. Can you say yes to all the above? I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I totally understand. That's what happens, right? Um, the man fell off a cliff. Brian, interesting. I'd love to chat with you about that. I guess, interesting enough, I was talking to a very large contractor, CJ, in Texas yesterday, as I said. They operate in several markets in Texas. And they're like, it's hot, Chris, but demand season hadn't really hit for us yet.
Mm,
And so I'm scratching my head going, we got a marketing challenge, right? We've got a marketing challenge here. And I'm going to say this, I'm not going to chase the rabbit. I'm not going to chase the rabbit. But here's what happened. If you could take 2019 and cut the end of that year off and then cut out 2020 and then take today and smash it right up to it, nothing really changed from a marketing perspective. Not a lot changed. The challenge is 2020, 21, 22, and 23, slowly 24, it lulled us into believing that our marketing skills didn't need to get any better. The market started shifting and changing, and we didn't do anything about it. Let me say this: SEO is not dead, it's just renamed. SEO is not search engine optimization, it's search everywhere optimization. With the inwalks of all of your AI search tools, pay per click, LSA's even changed now to where you don't just get the call. Google's now saying, hey, you want me to give you 3 more people to give you estimates and quotes? You got to be a better marketer in today's world. So, Brian, I'm not
100%.
coming at you, man, but I do understand the struggle, and the struggle is real. We're going to give you some tactical stuff that might be able to help with that, depending on your business and your size, maybe to help with that today.
And Chris, I see Michelle LaFrance on the call. She's doing some really interesting marketing work around the Google AI search tool. So I'll get some information to everyone out about them
Yeah,
and what she's doing. I don't know if you had an opportunity to touch base with her yet, but
I met
definitely
with
put
her
you in
this week.
contact.
See, I met with her this week, CJ, and I bet when I just said that, I bet she was
Up in her
in
chair,
her
dancing
office doing the
around.
happy dance. What? She was like, "That's my boy, Chris, right there." Big shout out to Michelle. Thank you so much, Michelle, for your time and the shifting of that. 100%, I agree with it. Traditional mark. And by the way, let me say this though. Yes, she was. Direct mail isn't dead either. Direct mail is not dead. Direct mail still works, but I'm a big fan of, watch this, and I'm on a marketing kick now because I know call volumes for people are challenged. The challenge is when your marketing budget and you got all your eggs in one basket, when it stops working, there ain't no eggs in it. When it stops working. And that's why I'm a big fan of being very diverse in your marketing plan. And I'm going to say this again, there's a lot of people that'll argue with me, but I can prove it time after time after time. But at the end of the day, branding is an enhancer to your overall marketing. And if you don't spend any money in branding, you'll be able to build a business, but you won't be able to survive the tough times. CJ, I referred to it as cocaine marketing, which means it's just good for right now, but I'm gonna need it again. I'm gonna need it again. I'm gonna have to keep coming back to it, right?
Need a little hit.
Got to get another hit. We need some more calls. What can we turn on? What can we do? And I get pretty fired up about this stuff because I'm a big fan of put a plan to place and work the plan. When the plan stops working, adjust the plan, right? But a lot of people get frozen in their tracks when things stop working because they don't know what to do. because they haven't been testing anything else. So they don't know where to go. And
And
for me, the reports don't lie.
And if I could just jump in and say, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said your people aren't the system, your people run the system, right? So if you're putting a crap ton of money into marketing and your systems fail, like you've just blown through that. So you need to have your marketing on point, but you need to have the systems in place. And to be completely honest, like that's where a good CRM comes in, a good field management software comes in, right? And
Yeah.
if that FSM isn't helping your people run, your playbook every time out in the field, if it's not helping cut down on the dispatch chaos, if it's not helping cut down on the miscommunications between the field and the office, like you're missing the mark. So if you're struggling with any of those things, like if your FSM isn't giving you every single one of those things, like I'd love the opportunity to chat with you guys and schedule a demo. But yeah, dude, keep going. Like you're killing
Perfect.
it right now.
And we're slow on time right now. I realize, and this is the problem, man. When you give me a short amount of time, I got to get all this in. And so let's hit this thing a little hard and heavy. I'm going to get back to this now. But that was system number one. System number two is strategic dispatching. And dispatching for dollars means different things for different people. And yes, CRMs have intuitive software with AI built into it, but at the end of the day, it's only a suggestion based on a set of metrics, but it's not 100% perfect, but it's very directionally correct. For those that don't have that today, think on revenue focused decisions. If I can look at this as a part of the call, I can then start deciding what calls get run today, which ones don't get run today, which calls will we put on the books today. I've seen this as well. We don't have any calls. Okay, what do we do? Start calling club customers. Let's get maintenance customers on the board. Well, if you fill the board with a bunch of ones and twos, you're going to run the day with no money. You got to get some fours and fives and threes on the board as well. That's where geographic clustering can come into play to reduce drive time and increase productivity hours. So, not a lot of driving or sitting around. And then skill matching. That goes back to that technician legend I talked about. And then lastly is optimizing technician schedules, making sure that we're not just working them from start to finish of the day, all day, every day, 5 days a week, running them ragged into the ground. We've got to make sure that we're more strategic with our dispatching so that we can increase our productivity by our technicians. And that brings me to system number three. Now, when we think about system number three, it's the service technician component. Number one, it's the process. We teach it at Blue Collar. It's called the 12 Steps, the Ultimate Client Experience. It's got everything that your team needs to know how to do in it, right? In with that, we want them taking pictures of before and after. Along with that, that becomes the show and tell of the process when I'm teaching the customer what needs to be done and more importantly why. But I'm showing them pictures and video. Hear me out on this one. Full diagnostic. Technicians always take the path of least resistance. I take my 30 years of experience. I can fix most problems before I even walk into the home. Why do a full diagnostic? Because the full diagnostic's purpose is to not just inspect what's going on, but why it happened. That way they can provide a permanent solution for the customer. They're going to find other opportunities that they can engage in when they do a full system diagnostic. And then at the end of the day, options. Once again, I couldn't hound this one enough. Most people think they're selling on options, but they're not. I'm going to say this in the most loving way. Most companies that I see suck at this. And when I say they suck at it, I don't mean that in a harsh way. I know that sounds very harsh. Three options is not a capacitor, a UV light, and a club. That's not three options, that's three items. Your options should be laid out three solution based options so that if the customer selects this one, it takes care of what they called you for and all the other stuff you found. If they select the second one, it still takes care of what they called you for with some stuff you found. And there's different ways to fix it. I could take an hour and train on this and it would blow your mind. And revenues would increase sometimes 40 and 50% when you get good at options. Let's move over to the sales component. Every single call, every single time you run the process. We call it the 10 steps to a sales champion, and we're going to give you that poster and all 10 steps today as a part of being here if you want it. Then we got to focus our team on how to handle objections. But remember, I'm not a big fan of handling objections, and I don't know why, But it gets salespeople excited when they're like, teach me how to overcome the objection, Chris. And I'm like, look, man, that's the hard way of doing stuff. If you like to do it the hard way, I'll teach you that. And by the way, I can teach you all the things you're doing that are creating those objections. Would you rather eliminate the objections? Because I'm a big objection prevention guy. Let's not let the objection happen. Let's do things to stop the objection from happening. Like, I'm getting 3 estimates. We want to think about it. We want to pray about it. We never make a decision on day one. We never all that stuff's built into the system, man. And then at the end of the day, when we get down to it, now we can have a logical conversation about the objection they really have. Most high-powered salespeople get excited to handle the objection because it's the thrill of the chase. I'm really excited about winning and making good customers. I don't want them to have to jump through all the hoops to buy from me. So I set myself up to eliminate the objections before they happen. And then at the end of the day, financing is not an objection handling technique. And if you're doing it that way, you're using financing very poorly. And a tool in the hands of the wrong craftsman will never create something beautiful. Financing is a tool. When you put it into the hands of people that are very capable, it'll actually be used to leverage their existing skills to help customers buy more frequently at higher tickets. Every job, I present financing and I lead with that by leading with payments. And if they say, well, this is a payment, how much is it if I just pay for it? Oh, okay. I didn't realize you guys didn't want to take advantage of our payment plans. And by the way, that's a sales tactic as well, where it is a buying signal that a customer, if they want to know how much the whole job is, then they're definitely interested. They don't say no if they say, no, I'm not interested at all. No, well, how much is it if I just pay for it? That's a buying signal. So let's slow down strategy. Let me give you this really quick, okay? We got a short amount of time. I hope that your time's been valuable, and those that have hung in there, that you've endured Chris for a little bit. Yeah, I know we started off a little slow with some reggae music, got some little reggae vibes, and then we cranked that up to 100 on you. So why are we not going to slow down? Because when we slow down, in many cases, we think that it's taking away from the money that we're going to make, but it actually increases the money we make when we slow down. It allows us to really focus in the call center so that we know that the call center is being run more effectively. Shortcuts create things like decreased revenue and profits. While we may look and go, we hit budget, but that's not the case. It's missed opportunity. The key is to train the technicians. And as I said this, we don't train in slow season only. We train year round, and we train on the things that are most applicable to the thing that they're going to go do that day, whether it's on the phones, as a dispatcher, as a tech, as a salesperson, as an installer, or as an apprentice. Everybody gets trained on applicable information today that they can go take away and use. If I'm not in maintenance season, it doesn't make sense to be training on maintenance calls, just like I don't train how to run repair calls in maintenance season if we're not running a lot of them. So make sure that your training is on point for what you're trying to accomplish. Well, I'm going to hop over to Brian, right? And so Brian Hatton, if you're still on, this is my nugget for you, man. This is what I want everybody focusing on. When you're running in busy season, don't overlook the value of a service agreement. Okay. Now, most of the time, I say this in the most loving way, but most HVAC contractors have bastardized the concept of service agreements. You want a really good book. Ron Smith, the late Ron Smith, just passed away this year. I think it was this year. Ron Smith passed away, but he wrote a book called HVAC Spells Wealth. It's a really, really good read. It's a great book. He talks about service agreements and the power of service agreements. One of the things that we teach here at the Blue Collar Success Group is called Service Agreement Success. It's an entire service agreement program that start to finish, how to build it, how to price it, how to sell it, how to service it, and how to retain it. And when you do this correctly, it's not a financial burden on the business. Most people create service agreements and they're actually detrimental to their business because they don't manage it correctly. So maintenance agreements during busy seasons, secure that revenue while you're there, while it's busy. You said you didn't have a service agreement in place. Let's sell it today, but we're not going to do it today. We're going to get the system up and running, and we're going to come back when our schedule allows for the maintenance to be done. Then there's referral programs, making sure that I've got and by the way, there's companies out there. There's a company called To Your Success out there. They're one of our vendor partners that we use as well, where you can use and leverage for referrals when they refer people to you that are buying systems. This would be a part that's integrated into my 10 steps of a sales champion. You'll see this, but the referral component is a part of the sales process. Once we make a sale, then we're going to ask for referrals. And then remember, follow-up systems. And there's tons of vendors out there that do this for you. But I did it myself in-house. I was very effective with this and follow-ups, making sure. In fact, I'd say this, my cousin, she is in the industry. It's July 31st. I bet she's already crossed the $4 million mark this year in follow-up sales, HVAC systems and plumbing. That's all she follows up on. So I'm telling you, in the old saying, there's gold in them there hills, right? You need to make sure that you're capturing that. So the service agreement gold mine is really around this, and I know we're getting close to wrapping up. It increases revenue through that, decreases marketing cost, gets members in front of you, and by the way, members that see you on a regular basis are more apt to buy from you with those referral rates, or I'm sorry, retention rates that you have. So here's a really quick snapshot of weeks 1 and 2. I want you to grab this if you want to take a picture with your phone of this. These are all the things that we talked about. Over the next 2 weeks, you work toward implementing along with daily actions. And then lastly, some of the mistakes that you're going to make. Number one, trying to take every call that comes in. Stop doing that, right? Number two, stop rushing through every service call to fit more in. Don't be training your staff on new systems. Hey, we're too busy right now. We can't go change this right now. Let's wait till fall. It's too late at that point. That's why you got to take advantage of this now. And then failing to track and measure results, and lastly, reverting to old habits when pressure. Next steps, take a picture of this. My time is coming and gone. So I want you to take a picture of this and remember that implementation beats perfection every day. Every day. Just go implement. And then lastly, key reminders of your takeaways from today. Remember, volume doesn't equal profit and your future success. Use your summer success to build for year-round stability. That's going to conclude my time here today with the presentation, but I'm going to hang out for a little bit, CJ, see if we got any questions.
I swear I've done this before. Yeah, man, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your time. We're definitely going to have to get you back on the show. Really looking forward to joining you guys out at some of your in-person events this year. I'd love to get a little bit of feedback from the audience. You know, Breezy and the Blue Collar Success Group are both here to help you guys thrive, to help you succeed, and to help you really unlock, that next level of growth. So if you're interested in hearing from Breezy, Blue Collar Success Group, everybody should be saying yes to Blue Collar Success Group. We'd love to follow up with you after this call today and just get to know you a little bit better, understand, what your challenges are, both from like an operations standpoint, a training standpoint, and what we can do to support you. So love to hear your feedback there. Chris, what's your experience coaching owners through peak season chaos with respects to their field management software, CRM company? Like, how do you see that playing a role in helping them stay in control and protect the revenue when it gets hectic?
Well, at the end of the day, right, managers must be the calmness to the chaos. And if you're operating in a state, and I say this often, right, and it doesn't matter what season it is, a manager sets the tone in the business, CJ. And so I say you must operate with a sense of urgency, but not a sense of chaos. So if you're constantly running around like your hair is on fire, trying to, put the fires out all the time, if that's all you're ever trying to do, all you're doing is you're teaching your team, just like for those that have kids, your kids learn more by what you do than what you say. So you as an operator, you be focused on what's important and shut out all the distraction and the noise. And when you do this, it allows you to run the business the way the business needs to be run instead of the business running you.
Absolutely. And from the owner all the way down to the tech, something that you said that stood out with me. Don't have your dispatcher telling your techs how many jobs they got to run. They got to be where their feet are. They got to be focused on the job at hand, just like the owner has to be focused on the job at hand. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the feedback from everybody on that poll. Um, Chris, we got a question from Ash. Do you have a reset button? Best recommendations to help us team forget all the bad habits. Our team forget all the bad habits and that they've learned over the years.
Perfect. Ash, let me do this. I want to give you a really quick, and I don't know what position you're in. I don't know if service manager, owner, and I don't know where you're at, but no matter what your position is, let me give you this quick little exercise. I recommend that you do this in private. Don't leave it out on a piece of paper that your team can see. But I want you to go through and list your team members that you've got on a piece of paper. And then I want you to create two columns. In the first column, I want you to write the heading that says skill. And in the next one, I want you to write attitude. And on a grading scale of A plus to F, I want you to go through and grade every person's subject very, very objectively. Not do you like them? We don't hire people because we like them. We hire people because of their skill and their attitude. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and have a drink with them or go to dinner with them. But when you do this, this will help you to understand, do I have team members today that I probably am? The old saying, Jim Rohn said this: you can't send ducks to Eagle School. You just can't. And so I want to know, the reset button starts with, do I have the right people? And if you see people that you've got really, really poor attitudes, you can't change that. You just can't. They are wired the way they're wired, and you might need to make a consideration to up level your team members. Get yourself an attitude adjustment. However, if you look and go, no, we're good on attitude, it's the skill component. And typically what I found in my business was, the old saying is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It was so true. It's hard to train bad habits out of people. So the reset button starts with this: create for yourself 3 to 4 standards that you're going to start measuring your team members by. Let me just give you an example: a full diagnostic of before and after pictures, 3 quality options, and the inspection form is filled out digitally every call. And then I'm going to train what we do, how we do it, and here's the key, Ash: why we do it. And then now you're getting your team to understand how all of that plays into. And here's the key: none of it can be about, if we do this, the company then does this, or if we do this, then the customer does this. Listen, I believe in the triple win. I believe in the triangle of the triple win: the customer, the company, and the technician, or what I'm going to call the team member. But at the end of the day, they don't really care unless they win first. And this is the world we live in. You show me how I benefit first, then show me how the customer benefits, and then show me how the company benefits lastly. And you can say all day long, well, I'm a company person. I'm a company person too, but I'm not a company person if I can't pay my bills. So, Ash, let me ask this question. Is your team member performance-based pay, or are they straight hourly or straight salary? Is there any kind of incentives and performance-based pay at all? Because if there is, now you show them how the things you're asking them to do lead to additional revenue opportunities that lead to additional income opportunities. And then now what you want to be doing is getting inside of your team's head of, what's your goals? What is it you want in life? Because I'm a big believer that the place that they work becomes the conduit that helps make that happen. If they can't make great money and help their goals become a reality here, what the hell are we doing anyways? We're in the people business, and we got to be able to help people, Ash. And so I hope maybe that might be able to help with a little bit of a reset button, couple of tactical strategies that you can go do today.
Love that, man. Thank you for that. And yeah, Ash says thank you too. Who do you start with? The ones that need the help the most?
No. Start with your best people. Because see what you're talking about is what most people try to do. They try to train the bottom half. Jack Welch wrote a book when he was the CEO. Yeah, and thank you for that. Jack Welch wrote a book when he was the CEO of GE, and he talked about this concept of constantly changing out the bottom 10% of his company. And when you constantly change the 10% out, you're upgrading that talent, which means you're actually raising the ceiling when you raise the floor. So for me, it's kind of like investing in a really bad stock when you do that. Don't go put all your time, effort, and energy into somebody that doesn't have a good attitude and has really, really poor performance. Only invest in people that's got a good attitude that you're like, this person's got a lot of promise. Go invest in them first. And then what'll happen is you'll get some wins with them. And then people will be like, oh, look at Joe. All of a sudden he's killing it and crushing it. And then be the other thing is, Ash, do you focus on performance numbers with your team? And there's a lot of ways to do this. We have goal boards at Blue Collar. And we don't teach goal boards the traditional way. We teach goal boards in colors, red, green, and blue. Red is you missed the goal altogether. Green is you hit the company goal. Blue is you hit your personal goal. I know that some of our members are on today that are using that goal board system, and they could tell you how powerful it is because we're only tracking one thing, revenue. Because at the end of the day, if your close rate and average ticket's not good and revenue is, like, that's really the only thing that matters.
That's a really interesting approach, and I think that it's very powerful. You build that out with the business.
We do. And here's the cool part, CJ. You can use one goal board and everybody's on the goal board because there is no, well, comfort advisor over here, technicians are over here, installers are over here. They're all the same. They're just measured on the goal. Nobody knows the goal. They just know it's either red, green, or blue. And guess what? It ain't forgiving at all. You miss by $1 and you're red. You hit by $1 and you're green.
Love it. So we're at the end of time. Don is requesting a role play for a new customer calling in with no AC and how your CSR determines that priority. So can we do that in 2 minutes?
Heck yeah, man. I'm gonna make that happen. It's been a long time since I've done this. We're gonna we're gonna test my phone skills. So CJ, you want to be the customer and I'll be the rep.
Ring, 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 ring.
It's a great day at the Blue Collar Success Group. This is Chris. How can I make your day?
Chris, I am having a tough one right now. My kids and my wife are all home from school, and I got no air conditioner. Can you come help me today?
Oh my gosh, that sounds horrible, and I know that can be very, very frustrating right now. But let me see what I can do about getting you some help. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
This is CJ Todd. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then I'm going to go through a process where I capture all their information because this is the process of booking the call. Tell me a little bit more about this. When did you notice that the air wasn't working?
It was really hot yesterday. It was about 3 p.m. afternoon. Noticed it wasn't kicking on, and nothing I can do to get it back on. So
Gotcha.
it's been about 24 hours.
And CJ, I don't see you in my system. Have you ever used our company before?
I have not.
Okay, well, thank you for giving us a call. We're going to do our very best to get you and your family back up and running and back to normal as quick as possible. Let me gather a little bit more information that'll help us make an efficient appointment here today. Approximately how old is the system that's not running?
Oh man, I can't even see the serial number on the unit.
Uh,
I
okay,
I can't even figure that out.
okay. Well, how old's the home?
The home was built in 1963.
Okay, and
Um,
how long have you lived there?
we've lived here for 15 years and
Okay.
haven't replaced it. So
Okay, so is it safe for me to assume today that that system is at least 15 years old?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, CJ. Well, I've got great news for you. I'm looking at my schedule right now. I do have an available appointment. It's 4 o'clock this afternoon. I don't know exactly what time I'm going to be able to get the technician there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in what we call a standby appointment. It's an emergency same day appointment, and I'm going to be able to get my technician out there for you today. I'm going to give you a call when the technician's on the way. What's the best number to reach you at?
Beep, boop, 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 boop.
Yep.
I don't need
Great.
anybody blowing me up.
Yep. Great, great, great. So I'm gonna go straight from here. Great, CJ. Well, let me share with you what you can expect from our technician when we come out. You're gonna see one of our fully stocked trucks roll up to your home. It's gonna be in a clearly marked company vehicle. Once the technician arrives, he's gonna complete a full diagnostic of the entire system. Once he's done with that, he's gonna write you up a few options. With that being said, if you'd like to, most work can be completed same day. But once the work is complete, you would be responsible for payment. We take cash, check, all four major credit cards, and we have some great payment plans. Which one would you be taking advantage of today?
I'd like to hear a little bit of information about your financing program.
Okay. Okay, I'll make a note of that for our technician. When the technician comes out, what we're going to do is give you a call when we're about 30 minutes, heads up, on the way. And before we get off the phone, I just want to make sure everything goes smooth on the day of the appointment. I've got you at this address, I've got you at this telephone number, this is the email address, and this is the time that we're coming out. Does all that sound correct?
That sounds great. Thanks so much, Chris.
Okay, great. Thanks, CJ. Hope you have a great day. Now, what I'll do in that scenario is I'll move what needs to happen because I just identified this is
Number
a Friday.
5.
I'm going to run that baby today.
Absolutely. And I broke character. I apologize for everybody that's out there judging me on my customer call. Sorry about that.
And
but
well, CJ,
Chris, you kept it
I
going.
haven't answered the phone in a service business in probably probably 10 years. Probably I haven't actively answered phone, so it's been a while. I'm a little out of practice.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was not a script that he was reading off his computer because we sprung that on him. So good job, Don. Thank you for everybody that's joining us today. And you want to leave anybody with some parting words of wisdom, Chris?
Yeah, it's actually 2-letter words that are combined to this. You ready? If it is to be, it is up to me. CJ, thank you so much. For everybody else that was out there and on the other side of the virtual screen. So much love. I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to be able to be here and give back to the industry that's been so very good to me and my family. It literally changed my life. I could tell my story if anybody ever wanted to hear it, but this industry literally saved me and changed my life. So I'm forever indebted to it. And every time I get this opportunity, I take it very, very serious. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. And hope to see you next time for our guests, Tersh and Josh, from the Trade Automation Pros, going to be coming to you in 2 weeks. So hope to see you there. See ya.